Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the Northwest Division. We'll start with the Denver Nuggets. So last year, the Denver Nuggets finished 57-25, and I think they were eliminated in the second round of the playoffs. They gave up a 20-point lead to the Timberwolves in a game 7 in Denver, I believe, right? So that was a rough loss. So what was your favorite move that the Nuggets made this offseason, Clint?
Well, the Nuggets did not do a whole lot. And I'm gonna put this down. It's gonna be both my good and my bad because I think it's good for the regular season is Russell Westbrook. So they need someone explosive, get to the line, more fast paced in the regular season. And I think he will provide that because when we get to it, they have a little bit of a depth issue. So I think he'll be really good for them in the regular season with what they need. But we can counter that on the other side later. But as you guys know, I'm not a big Westbrook fan, but he has his spots where he can be productive and useful still, and I think this is one of them, at least with Jokic.
Yeah, that's what I had too. I think he'll be better with Jokic. He kind of is an Aaron Gordon light. Not a good shooter, but good rim runner, cuts the basket real well. Jokic will find him in those areas. But he's probably there mainly to run the second unit, and he's not getting paid a whole lot. So like for a backup point guard, I think it's like, yeah, he's good at what he does. So I did like that signing. It's a low risk, high reward because again, if like you're having troubles with him, don't play him. You don't have to. You're not paying him $50 million anymore. You're only paying him what, 5 or whatever it is, 2, 5, whatever it is. So it's a low risk, high reward type of move. So I'm totally with you. I think Westbrook was my favorite move they made.
Yeah, and I think that the Nuggets will have the fortitude, unlike the Clippers did for a little bit, to be like, well, it's not your night, so sit
Yeah,
down.
correct. And I think partly is they have the pieces where they can do that, where the Clippers kind of needed him to be a point guard. But I am with you there. Okay, let's talk about our least favorite move. What was the least favorite move that the Nuggets made?
Just losing KCP,
Yeah, that's what
like,
I had.
and basically it came down to them being cheap.
Hmm.
I know, it's easy to say when it's not your hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts, but this is a title team. They've won one a couple of years ago. They were in it till the end last year, and just because you don't want to pay a luxury tax, the guy who owns the Nuggets owns like another team too. So, in football, I believe. So you'd think you would just pay the money for a team that has a chance to win it. So just going cheap. I hate when teams do that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Losing KCP, he's a connector, a player, and you need those on a team. He's one of those guys. He moves the ball real well. He's not a black hole. He hits shots and he plays good defense, and you're gonna miss that. So I'm with you on that. What's your
Yeah,
biggest?
it's just
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
No, no, you
I was
go.
just gonna say it just leaves a hole for
Yeah,
shooting. Now you have less certainty with that.
correct. Okay, what was your biggest question for the Denver Nuggets?
My question is like the fit of Westbrook when we get to the end of the season.
Hmm.
Like how does that shooting lack of shooting work in a playoff? And I know the instinct is to be like, well, he just won't play that much, but losing KCP, you lose a little depth. You're relying on Christian Braun, who shows flashes, but is he as consistent as you want? Defensively, maybe he's a little better because he's younger, but hitting that clutch pull up in transition three. And if you get down to having to play Russell Westbrook in some
Yeah.
of these series, you run into that problem of we're just going to leave him totally alone. Like there's leave a guy alone for some shooters, and there's Russell Westbrook. We don't even need to be within 10 feet of this guy. We'll just stand next to Jokic. So that's the concern when you get to the end is how can they play Russ enough to be effective, but not be so reliant on him that if we get to the playoffs, they need him and it's going to probably come back to bite them then.
That's a good one. And that's why, like, my big question was the second unit. Is there a second unit going to be strong enough? Jokic off the floor, it never is good for the Nuggets. Now you can say that about any great player, but especially true with Jokic off the floor. Murray, he had a weird summer with Team Canada, so who knows what happens there. He didn't look like himself, but it really is can you get what you need to out of Russell Westbrook? And Dario Saric is the other guy you're kind of leaning on. He's your second big. So is he going to be able to, I like how you brought up towards the end of the season, playoffs. Like, are you going to be able to play confidently Dario Saric 8 to 12 minutes a game to give Jokic a break? That's another big question I have. So I'm not quite sure if that's possible.
Yeah, and they have other guys. Like I know they're high on like Julian Strawther, but again, this is his second year. Um, it's tough to find a balance when you're a good team of playing him enough in the regular season to see what you have to get him confident, but you also need to get Westbrook involved. Like you said, Murray had a rough summer. His preseason hasn't looked good. So you got to kind of get your team in order and then work in these guys to see what you have. And I know we always say 82 games is a lot, but when you're a good team and you need to shore up these areas, it's hard to then sneak a guy in and get him some meaningful minutes to then have confidence in him in the second or third round of the playoffs to be like, this is our dude, go stand in the corner and make 45%.
Correct. Yeah, no, good point. Any other big points or questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, just one real quick. Michael Porter Jr., is he on the team at the end of the year?
That's a tough one. I think he's their trade piece, but I mean, his contract isn't as crazy anymore, but his injury history makes it
hard.
Like what team wants to take that risk with that money that he's going to improve?
Yeah, I wonder if like the Bulls, like if they got desperate with Levine, like if because like, and not that you want to see Levine on the Nuggets, but I think Levine would be better on the Nuggets than he would be on the Bulls, and he could do what Michael Porter does. It's not, and he's actually better on offense than Michael Porter Jr. So like, I wonder if they start slow, if they're willing to make that big of a move, and then the Bulls would be willing to do it because they'll take the risk of the injury because you kind of get rid of that Levine contract. That's sort of something that I was kind of thinking about, but I'm kind of thinking like that's their trade chip right there. He might not be on the team at the end of the year. Was kind of the point I was trying to make, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it'd depend on how the first couple months goes. If it's looking rough, not just him. I mean, if he looks bad, then you're kind of stuck because everyone's going to shy away from that deal.
Correct.
But if the team just looks like it needs a shakeup, I think he could have enough value to at least get a close to equivalent piece.
Yeah, I agree. Prediction?
I have him as a contender.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's move. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.